Hello, artist. Okay, I'm going to show you the next part of making your own stuffed animals, and that part is the sewing part. So once you have your piece all cut out, what you're going to do is you're going to remove the paper. And so taking one needle at a time, you're going to remove it, lift the paper, and you're going to slide the needle back in. All right, take the needle out, lift the paper, slide the needle back in. Okay, so I'm going to cheat a little bit. No, I'm not. I've got to do it the proper way. Sorry, you're just going to have to watch. Lift the paper, put the needle in. So all these steps do take a while. All right, set your drawing aside because you might need it later on. Okay, now the next thing you need, so those aren't needles. I said that wrong. I meant to say pins. Those are pins. Needles have a hole in the center. So what you're going to be doing today is threading the needle, which is kind of hard to do. Just because it's so small. So what you're going to need is some thread, not yarn, but thread, and you're going to take the spool of thread and you are going to pull it as long, like you're almost like shooting a bow and arrow. So pretend like you're shooting a bow and arrow, and that's about the length of your thread. Cut it. Now if you remember when we were doing the weaving trick, you could use a tiny little slip of paper to help you. I'm gonna go ahead and I think I can go ahead and get this one in. Don't lick the bottom of the thread. That doesn't actually make it better. Once you have it, pull it through so the two ends match. So remember what we did, we're weaving, or when we were weaving the thread. So I've got the two ends right here. And what I'm gonna do is, this is kind of a fun way to tie a knot. What you're gonna do, and it doesn't always work, you're gonna take those ends and you're gonna wrap them around your finger, maybe like 2 or 3 times. Not super duper tight, because what you're gonna do is you're going to roll, oh, I did it too tight. You're gonna go back and forth and roll your fingers a couple times and roll it all the way off. It should look like a loop. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna slide your fingers down that loop. And it should make a nasty, ugly knot. So it doesn't always work though. So if you mess up, don't get frustrated, try it again. So I'm actually gonna cut it off because I want you to see it one more time. So pinch your fingers towards the end, roll it around your fingers a couple times, roll your fingers back and forth, kind of like you're getting something sticky off your fingers, like a booger. Roll it all the way off and slide your fingers down, and your hope is to create a knot so that'll lock the thread in place. Okay, so before I do this, one thing you might want to do is take a Sharpie or a color. If you're using really dark stuff, you might want to use a white colored pencil. And again, I'm not going to do this all. You're going to make a line that's about 1/4 inch in, that runs parallel, there's a math term for you, to your whole creature. And that is the line you're going to sew on. Okay. We are going to do something called the running stitch. So what you're going to do is, you could start anywhere. Make sure you all can see. I'm going to take my needle from the back and I'm going to poke it up on that line that I've just created. Pull all the way out. And then I'm going to go forward about 1 stitch length. I'm going to push it down I'm going to pull the needle all the way through. I'm going to go up about 1 stitch length forward, pull all the way through. Don't cheat and make gigantic stitches, because what you're doing then is you are making holes that your stuffing will escape. So go down, pull. If it gets caught on your pins, just go around it. Up, pull, down, pull. So it does take some practice, and once you get it going, it becomes easier and easier. So, do you see the stitches? I hope so. All right, so let's pretend you're running out of thread. When you have about a hand's length of thread left, you need to stop using that thread because you're going to run out of space and get a new piece of thread. So to do this, there's a few different ways, but I'm going to go ahead and bring the stitching up. And instead of go forward, I'm going to go backwards. I'm going to go forwards a stitch, backwards a stitch. So you're essentially making a loop. Forward, backward, until your thread can't really do anything else because you've used so much of your thread. That's when you can cut it off, get a new piece of thread, and continue. All right, everybody, practice your sewing, practice your cutting, be really tidy, and have fun. Remember, it's just practice.